Today I want to walk you through all of the basic strokes and give you a few tips as you're drawing them. So what you'll need is just your workbook and a pencil, and we're just going to be on page 1 of the workbook. So I'm just going to set the other pages to the side, and then we're just going to be going through these basic strokes. And someone in an email that's a member of the group mentioned that she's been loving the wax seals, but she feels intimidated about the lettering. And I just want you to know that that's okay, but also you guys can do this, okay? We're gonna go through all the basic strokes and they combine to make the lowercase letters. So if you can learn these strokes, there's 9 of them, then you can do lettering. So let's start. The very first one is called an upstroke. This one starts at the baseline and has a slight curve up to the waistline. So what you're gonna wanna do is you can put tracing paper over this, or you can draw right in the workbook if you want. And you're gonna trace the first few and then just draw a few more. The next one is a downstroke. This one starts at the waistline and goes down to the baseline. And with faux calligraphy, anytime we're moving up with these ones, it's a thin line. So up is thin and down is thick. So down is where we're gonna add the thickness here. So we're going down, so we'd add some thickness. And when you're practicing, you can color it all the way in, or you can just leave it like that. It's up to you. The next one is called an overturn. This one starts at the baseline, curve up to the waistline, curve back down to the baseline. So this is like an upside down U shape, and we're moving our pen up on this side, so it's going to be a thin line, and we're moving our pen down on this side. So that's where we need to add the thickness, is right there. So again, you start at the baseline, move up to the waistline, curve back down, and then where we're moving our pen in a downward direction, that's where we add the thickness. And these ones were turning out a little wide, and that's okay. Just do a few here that are a little bit thinner. Okay, the next one is called an underturn. This one is you start at the waistline, curve down to the baseline, curve back up to the waistline. And again, we're moving our pen down on this side and up on this side. So it's over here where we're gonna add the thickness. So again, it's a U shape. We add the thickness where we're moving our pen down. Start at the waistline, curve down to the baseline, curve back up to the waistline, and add the thickness. The next is a comma dot, and this one's kind of a mini underturn, and we're really coming kind of midway between these two lines. So we'll start at the waistline, come about halfway down, and then we're just going right back up. And we're just gonna add the thickness on this side, because it's really just this little portion over here where we're moving our pen down. So it'll look like that. So that's the first 5 basic strokes. We have 4 more to go. Next is a compound curve. This one is a combination of the overturn and the underturn. So you're gonna start at the baseline, curve up to the waistline, curve back down, and curve back up again. And you're just follow your pen. We're moving up, down, and up again. So it's just here in the middle where we're gonna add our thickness. So baseline to waistline to waistline, and add the thickness in the middle. Something you wanna watch out for on this one is you wanna have equal amounts of negative space on both sides of these curves. So this one is what we wouldn't wanna see, but this one, it's more balanced. There's equal amounts on both sides of that. The next one is an O form. This one we start drawing it at the 2 o'clock position. So we'd start over here and we'd curve up to the waistline, curve back down, and then connect it. And then we're moving our pen down on this whole side, so that's where we would add a thickness. So again, start at 2 o'clock and work your way around and add the thickness. What we're trying to avoid here, we don't want to get the point that's at the top. And what we also want to avoid is having a disconnect here. If you're struggling with connecting it as you're drawing it, once you get about here, your eye should stay on the end point, and that will help you connect it. And then you'll add your thickness. Two more. The next one is the ascending loop. This one starts at the waistline and we're moving up to the ascender line and then coming back down to the baseline. So moving up a thin line, down means thick. So we're going to add our thickness on this whole side. So again, start at the waistline, curve up to the ascender line, come back down to the baseline. And the last one is a descending loop. We'll start at the waistline, come down to the descender line, curve back up to the baseline. We're moving our pen down on this side. So this whole side is where our thickness would be. So it's kind of like this J shape. Waistline down to descender line, back up to the baseline, and then add your thickness. So these start to combine. Here's a few examples. If we had an O form with an underturn and the letter A, an O form and an underturn, we squish them together, we'd get the letter A. Or an O form, a descending loop, and an upstroke, if we squish them all together, we would get the letter G. So all of these basic strokes can be combined together in different ways to make almost all of the lowercase letters, which is pretty cool.